hi, welcome back to Adventures in Music with me, Jim, where we listen to, talk about and do all sorts of things musicy. Now, today, it's rather special because we are talking about listening to and doing all sorts of things musicy with two people. That's right, it's the first time ever I've got someone else here in the studio with me. It's Mr. Andy Glass. Andy, hi. Hello.
Hello, Jim. This is very exciting. I love this setup.
It's cool, isn't it?
It's so cool.
As I say, it's the first time I've ever done this. So this is the virgin voyage of HMS Newstead Towers, whatever it is.
I'm honoured to be the guinea pig and excited. Yeah. I mean, it's great. You know, viewers, you can't see it all in here, but it's fantastic.
It's cool. So Andy Glass, main man from Solstice. Prog Band of the Year.
Oh, so they say.
How on earth did that happen?
Yeah, I've no idea. It's it's hilarious, really. It's what it's about is about having a great and motivated audience.
Yeah.
That's and it's not even that big an audience. It's just that they're all so great, So I mean, a couple of years ago, I saw the prog readers poll thing come up, and I thought, you know what, Jess could have a go at this. I think she's in with a chance of getting in the top 10 because she's brilliant, you know, and people love what she does. So I just suggested it on the Friends of Solstice page, and boom,
Here you are.
Loads of people voted for her, and I got in there as well. And I think the band might have done too. And then last year, I thought, well, we'll do the same thing again. And sure enough, I'm just going to take this slightly buried in the sound of my own voice. There we go. And again, we did really well. And I was put at number 2 in the guitar list, which is ludicrous when you look at some of the people that, were below me. And of course, above me, as per, was Rothers, you know, and Marillion have a massive audience, of course they do. So that's kind of expected, and I think that's where the Marillion audience fell down this year because they were like, "Yes, Steve will be top, of course, and we don't need to vote for that." And
a rude awakening.
So it'll never happen again because next year they'll be less complacent. And they'll go, okay, we better actually vote this year. So we snuck in under the radar, and that's great. That's going to make a beautiful print for my wall, which I can just look at when I'm, no longer able to do anything, and think, But
it's made a massive impression on the whole community, hasn't it? So you are now right in the forefront of people's minds.
Well, I think it has. I think it has helped, and I think it's made some. For example, I know that we haven't got it, but I know that it's got us on the table for discussion with places like Cruise to the Edge, which is really exciting because of that, readers poll. I mean, whether it translates into, sales and us getting bigger gigs remains to be seen. But I mean, it's a lovely accolade, and of course, it means the world. It does not mean I'm the best guitar player, though. That's for damn sure.
I don't think anybody who has ever voted as the best at anything will ever say that I am the best at this, unless you've got an ego so big.
But I'm a lazy bastard, really. I've never really studied playing the guitar. I've never been one for practicing. It's about just being able to enjoy it and express it, express something. And my chops are rudimentary. That's for sure. It's the truth. And that's why I've had invitations actually to play with incredible musicians, and I just daren't do it. I just daren't do it. I find that incredibly intimidating because, there are so many incredible players out there. In fact, if you just go on the internet, right?
Yeah.
It's just incredible player after incredible player thousands of them. But I think at the end of the day, it's not really about that. It's about the music, and it's about the way the audience respond to it, and it's their way of showing that they approve, and that's magic.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and I'll just keep playing the pentatonic scale. You know.
I mean, Angus Young doesn't do anything particularly clever, does he?
No.
But you wouldn't ever say that he's not a great guitarist because of what he's managed to do, as in sort of expose music to a huge audience, the impact that he's had, the band has had on music in general.
And it's not his virtuosity, it's his attitude.
Yeah, rock and roll.
It's his attitude. I mean, and what he plays is just brilliant, you know, in that context.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really isn't about virtuosity. And I mean, to be quite honest, it's not, you know, when I listen to virtuosic guitar players, you know, there are people like Steve Vai who I just think are incredible, but it can also just be notes, you know, notes and technique. But, you know, tell me something, make me feel something, you know, other than impressed.
I mean, I do enjoy listening to some Steve Vai, but after a while, I kind of find it's numbing. It just doesn't make sense after a while.
Yeah, sure.
I think Stephen Wilson said something about sort of shredding, that it's very impressive, but it's almost become a sport rather than an art form of music. Sure.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. So you need more than that. It's not enough to be a virtuoso to really move people, I don't think. I mean, I'm a big Pat Metheny fan, who is obviously a virtuoso, but also makes the most beautiful music, you know, so, which says something to me anyway. And actually, Steve Vai is the same for me. You know, I think he's a very expressive player. But, you know, to be put above Guthrie Govan in a guitarist list is just a complete nonsense, you know.
Also, I guess it depends on what's been out that year.
True.
So if something's fresh and new and
is
about to be released or has been released. Speaking of which...
Oh, clever segue.
There you go. Let me hold this up.
You've done this before.
I have. Do you want to grab that?
Yeah, sure. What is this?
It's something called what? Solihull? No.
Is it Clown by Solihull?
Clown?
No, it's... That's what someone said to me. In fact, it was Pete, I think, the drummer, said, yeah, that looks like Clown, mate. No, it doesn't. It's so actually that Clann title. So this artwork is Sean Blake, who's done all three of the albums, the Shia trilogy, and he came up with let's do something with, you know, Celtic knotwork.
Yeah.
And that's where, I don't know, can you see this, people? Yeah, there you go. So this is derived from Celtic knotwork, and I thought that was really beautiful and a really clever idea. So yeah, I love what he's done. Oh right,
I really like this one as well. The light up.
Yeah, that's lovely, isn't it?
Beautiful, and of course, the one that preceded it.
Sheer, yes. So that was from a photo. That was a photo from by Phoenix Robbins, who's done photography for us many times before, and the label, who was GP at the time, were like, yeah, but this is a photo. You know, it's not quite enough.
Yeah.
You know, it's not quite right. So, kind of at the last minute, really, Sean came in and essentially painted the photo, and the label and all of us thought, oh yeah, that's it. So that's kind of set this ambience for all three albums, and hopefully they connect visually to some extent.
Absolutely, yeah, brilliant. Well, I think, seeing as this has just come out.
This month, so I wanted to do a pre-order, which meant that people actually got it the release. So I spent a lot of time, you know, packing up CDs, and I think everyone got the CD about a month in advance. But the official release date was April the 4th, and the vinyl actually arrived on doorsteps on April the 4th. So that was a triumph.
Never happens.
It never happens.
Never happens.
So I was really delighted with that. Yeah.
So. It's a short thing to say. You're very pleased and proud of the album, and I think it's a remarkable thing. It's lovely.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, it has turned out to be what I'd hoped. To be honest, because, you know, in fact, even before Shia came out, I was thinking, you know, Jess had just joined the band. She'd never fronted a band before. It was the first album she'd ever made. You know, we just started doing some live shows. and clearly she was going to grow into that role. And I still am and was very inspired by working with her. The band felt the same, so I could immediately see the potential for this thing to grow, and I just figured it would take a few albums for us to kind of get there, and start and make a proper start. Right. And so and this, of course, is the third album in the trilogy, and I think it does represent that development. So I'm really happy with it.
So you think this is the final act of an arc, as it were?
I think it is, and now we're ready to make some music.
Wow.
That's how I feel about it.
So up to now, you're just been practicing your chops.
Yeah.
Stretching your frog legs.
Finding out where it was going to take us. Yeah. I do feel like that, and also, I've had to kind of up my game with production as well, and I think that's developed as well. I mean, you mentioned Stephen Wilson, and obviously I'm a big fan, and to be honest, he's a fan of us as well, because he used to come and see us as a 14-year-old or whatever. He used to come and see us play the monkey.
Oh, bless him.
And so Stephen's been really supportive, ever since, really, which is great. But and of course, his production is the bar, that we all reach for. So when I was mixing and mastering Clann, I was referencing the harmony codex, and thinking, well, is it anywhere in the same league? No. So okay, what do I need to do? So I was learning from that, and hopefully, I've had some success in getting somewhere close.
It sounds fantastic. So, do you record at home?
Yeah, it's a room exactly like this, basically, with a computer screen and a microphone.
Yeah. Do you use Logic or?
I do.
Yeah, it's such a good program, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah. And it's a great composition tool. Probably, I think it's the best tool for composition, really. So, I mean, all these songs, I demo. They come normally from just little seeds of ideas. And I develop them, in Logic on a computer into something that is either gonna, be taken forward or not. So it's a great tool.
Cool. Well, I think we should listen to it, don't you?
Sure. Do you know what I listened to the test pressing.
Yeah.
But I haven't actually heard this pressing.
Oh my word!
I have not heard it. No, I just haven't. Well, the thing is, April the 4th they arrived. We've been on tour.
Yeah. For
a couple of weeks, and I haven't had a chance to sit down until I got in this very comfortable chair, Jim.
There's a story about that chair. That's we didn't buy it from a garden centre. No, I think we did actually, but it was for a conservatory, so it just looked really comfy. It was sat on it. So all these people have these really expensive Scandinavian faux leather.
I wouldn't have anything else, mate.
No, but I tell you what, that conservatory chair is the absolute.
There you go, top tip, folks.
Yeah.
Get your conservatory chair. You can't see it, but it's nice. Ooh.
Beautiful thing.
Rusty red, Jim.
Rusty? Oh, I've left it outside too long.
We do a black as well, but rusty red. That was Richard Swan. So Richard Swan from Wild Time Records, he has overseen this production. He fancied that colour. The band agreed. What a great job he's done. I mean, if without Richard, this would not be the product that it is, and it would definitely not have arrived on the 4th of April. So thank you, Richard, if you're checking this video out.
Excellent. Can you do that?
I can hear all the crackles, mate. Yeah, crackle and pops. It's final.
It is.
Oh, what's that? Sounds like a band practicing. Actually, it is a band practicing.
Such a good sound.
Great. I can't really hear you over the top of it, though.
Which one are you?
It sounds great, though. This is good. I mean, this is a proper listening, isn't it?
Is that better?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Maybe turn my cans down a little bit, can you? My cans.
No, wrong one.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
I turned my one down by mistake.
Okay.
Is that better? Yeah. Better?
Yeah, it's better as long as I can hear you. Maybe come back up a bit. Okay.
try that.
Okay.
There we go.
So, just from conversation point of view, the music is a bit loud. Yeah, okay, good.
Is that better?
That's perfect.
Perfect. There we go.
Yeah, so what I was going to say was the opening of the record, we were rehearsing this song in a rehearsal studio, and I just, was grabbing bits of film for possible content.
Yeah.
And I thought, yeah, that's kind of nice as an intro. So it is actually us launching into this song in rehearsal.
Yeah.
So if anyone was wondering what's going on at the beginning of a record.
That's cool. It works really, really well. So it's not at the same session, that it's just a snippet of that then bolted onto the front.
Yeah, it's just in a rehearsal room, because
cool.
we were excited with this new tune, which was the first tune that came out after Light Up, after we finished that. This is the first one. And it actually came, do you know Exploring Birdsong?
No.
Oh, Jim, you need to check out Exploring Birdsong. So, great bands, young bands, trio, led by Lindsay Ward.
Right.
Lindsay Ward is one of the, if not the great female vocalists of our time in prog land.
Yeah.
She's young, I don't know, mid-20s or something. But yeah, it's definitely to be checked out. So she has a you can't hear me either, man, can you? That bloody music in the background.
No, normally when I'm listening, I have the music actually quite loud because it's
yeah.
I'm not having a conversation with anybody. I'm just talking to a camera. But,
yeah, for sure. Anyway, so she sings with Sleep Token. Have you heard of them?
Yeah, I know Sleep Token.
Okay, yeah. And she has the three women that sing backing vocals with Sleep Token called Aspira, which is Lindsay's little a cappella thing. And her own band is Exploring Birdsong. And I'm a big fan, I love them. You need to check them out.
Okay. What sort of music is it?
Well, I mean, it fits nicely into the progressive category, I guess. A little, interestingly, it has kind of a little bit of prog metal about it, but there are no guitars. It's just keyboards, and she plays, and the bass player plays keyboards and bass, and then a fantastic drummer. I don't know. I don't want to try and describe it. You need to listen to
experience it.
All right.
Yeah.
But she is just a phenomenal singer and writer. Anyway, one of their favourite bands, or her favourite bands, is a band called Asian Fresco, who are from
I've heard of them.
They're from Iceland. I don't think they're very active anymore, but they were 5 or 6 years ago, putting albums out pretty regularly. So I thought, I better check them out, which I did. And, oh man, I love them, It's a very, very high, definitely progressive.
Yeah.
High energy, beautiful guitar playing, very, kind of
this
aggressive.
Sounds good.
So, yeah, so that's what triggered, I thought, oh wow, I want to do something with that vibe, and that's what triggered this song.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, this solo, which I think is what you were just referring to.
Yes, it was, absolutely.
So, with guitar solo, I'll put a track together, get an arrangement, I thought, it'd be nice to blow over that, and then I'll blow over a section, and I think, that's working. What nearly always happens is I'll improve that later, that was cool, I enjoyed playing over it, and then I'll come back to improve it, and I never can, not because it's brilliant, because that, when I played over it, I was responding honestly and naturally, instinctively to the music.
Yeah.
And you can only really do that once.
You can do it once, can't you?
As soon as you start thinking about it, it's like, no, not really. So all these solos are essentially just what I played the first time, I respond to it. So I think that it has a kind of honesty to it. So it's not about, as we were discussing earlier, about virtuosic
Yeah.
playing, but it is an honest expression of
I think,
what
yeah,
the music
I think-
want to play.
Honesty is, I mean, it's more than valid. It is what you want from music. When it
Yeah.
becomes something that's paint by numbers,
Yeah.
or this ought to do this because I heard this done before. The sound ought to be like this. Well, no, the sound shouldn't be like that. The sound should be what you want to make, what you want to say. It's-
Sure,
Yeah.
what you instinctively
Yeah.
come up with.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this is. I had some nice feedback about Return to Property, which is our live album, and I was thinking about that, and I think the mistake some people make with live albums is to go in and start correcting everything. And I think you do get that with quite a lot of live albums. They're super polished. Clearly, they've gone in and they've corrected everything and they've improved it and they've perfected it. And what they've done is lost what is magic
taken the liveness away.
They've taken the magic away from
Yeah.
it. So yeah, try and. I mean, you have to correct some things, of course. With studio and live stuff, but try and stick with what it made you feel like at the time.
But I think there's certain corrections you ought to be doing. Things like something was overdriven and distorted at a certain place that shouldn't have been there, or
it's the audio thing is really important, isn't it?
Yeah,
And this sounds good. This vinyl, man.
that's great, isn't it?
It really sounds
really
good. I'm
is.
really so happy because I mean, like I say, I listened to the test pressing really just to make sure. I wasn't listening to enjoy it. I was listening to make sure there was no nasty, pops and things in there, or indeed that it wasn't overdriven. Because mastering for vinyl is a different thing to mastering for CD. You have to be very careful, about the low end and about the stereo imaging, in a way that with a CD you can just go as out there as you want.
Yeah.
To get kind of a good volume level on vinyl. And not to end up with grooves that are so close together, they're not really giving you
Dynamics.
the dynamic.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but this sounds good, man.
Lovely, isn't it?
So I like this tune. I mean, I did wonder whether it was going to work in context of the album, as I did the next couple of tracks actually, because Firefly is kind of prog friendly, I'd say.
Yeah.
And Twin Peaks is prog friendly. So, and I've described it as a prog sandwich for that reason.
Yeah.
And the filling is a little strange, unusual, perhaps unexpected.
I think there's a uniqueness to your sound. When I say your, I mean the band. Solstice.
Yeah.
But you explore soul and funk in your
Sure.
music, where other bands fear to tread sometimes, I think. And I think that sort of sets you apart. It's your USP, I guess. Or part
Well,
of it.
again, it's not a conscious thing. When I'm coming up with ideas, I say there's seeds that could come from anywhere. It could be from playing something, or it could be with Firefly. Hearing something that gets me started. And bizarrely, I'm not a huge progressive rock fan necessarily. Right? That's not what I listen to exclusively by any means. I mean, it's a big part of my DNA, but I love all kinds of music. And so with Solstice, it's a chance to explore that, so I don't feel constrained in any way by, this must be in a weird time signature, or this must be, some symphonic kind of masterpiece or whatever. I just roll with whatever I'm excited about. And this one we're listening to now live, I had a classical guitar that I was just playing some stuff on, and I thought, that's nice, I like that. And it's kind of ended up with this, for me, this kind of summery, Steely Danny, who I love,
breezy.
Yeah, kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, this section obviously does have some sort of progressive tropes in it, but the main song, I think, is is what it is, and I feel it's okay, to just go wherever the muse leads you.
Yeah, and that's a great attitude to have, I think.
Yeah.
But you're saying that you don't exclusively listen to just prog. Well, who does? Who listens exclusively to any one form, apart from maybe some sort of real die-hard metal fans? That's all I'm going to listen to is just particular metal.
Yeah.
But I love metal. I love prog. I love classic rock. I got jazz, electronica. You know.
Yeah.
So I love a lot of that acid house stuff that was happening in the end of the 80s. So that was sort of because it's so different.
Yeah.
And I went from sort of Iron Maiden, Metallica to listen to Left Field and Orbital.
Yeah.
Wow, it's
Great.
yeah.
Yeah. And you were wearing an Auschwitz shirt.
Osric Tentacles, yeah. So that's part of my DNA.
Yeah. No, I mean, the first band I saw live was I was 14, and a older friend said, "Do you want to come to a gig with me?" You know, I was living in a little town in Wales where nothing happened, South Wales. So he took me to Cardiff to see this band. First band that came on was a band called Griffon, who you might Griffon. Yeah. So okay. And I just thought, wow, this band. I mean, it was my first live experience, so it's going to blow my mind, probably whatever it was. But you know, I just thought, incredible. Nothing's going to be better than this. And they're just a support band, you know.
Yeah.
And then Yes came on.
Oh my lord!
Yeah, and they were on the Relayer tour, and obviously that was life-changing for me, you know. And that, of course, has informed everything I love about music ever since.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, I mean, back in those days, I was a huge Joni fan, you know, Joni Mitchell, Neil Young, John Martin, Santana, you know, and actually Nigel Maslin-Jones, who produced our first album. So I was into, even then, and also I was into Deep Purple, you know, I mean, all those bands. Welsh cat band called Budgie, you know, fantastic band. But you know, that was oh, here we go. That was
where do we go?
there was so much extraordinary and very different music coming out then, actually, as there is now, you know. So yeah, you know, that's all that stuff informs me, and I you know, I love funk, you know.
This is so funky. This is just so good.
So in the 80s, after the band split up, I started doing a little bit of session work.
Yeah.
And I was just playing in a bar, actually, The Point.
Oh, right, here.
Right, when it was alive and happening. And Mike Stevens came in. Now, Mike Stevens is still musical director for ELO and Take That and all those you know, top massive stadium bands.
Yeah.
Milton Keynes lad as well. And he came up to me in the break and said, "Oh, you know, like you're playing, I'm putting a band together to work with Bill Withers in the UK and Europe. Would you be interested?" And yeah, I mean, I remember as a 13-year-old listening to Bill Withers with my girlfriend and going, "This is so funky, man! I love it," you know. So playing with him, you know, he is the master of the groove, of just taking a simple idea and grooving out on it. And that was his total MO when I was working with him. He was like, "As long as this is grooving, boys, happy days. I don't really care what you play," you know. And he's saying to me, "Go on, Eddie, you know, go for it, man. Play a little solo. As long as we're grooving." And so...
I love you got horns on here.
Well,
or is it keyboard?
No, it's not keyboards. It's a real 3-piece horn section. And so the demo was done, and it was well advanced as a track. And I was in, me and Pete, the drummer, we both teach in schools. We all teach in schools, you know, teach us drums. Anyway, we teach in one school on the same day, and we kind of hang out if we get a break. And it suddenly occurred to me, this track needs brass. You know, I said to him, "Hey man, I got this great idea. Let's have brass on this track." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, okay." So there's a great studio in Toddington called Grand Chapel Studios, where we recorded some videos for Light Up, actually. So we went down there. I got a couple of friends that are great brass players, and recorded this session, and it was great, and I love it. I love it. I'm so pleased with
It's
it.
brilliant.
Brass, yeah.
Yeah.
This is what I mean, though. It might be a little confusing for some progressive fans, but you know, Big Big Train do it
Yes, they do.
right. You know, I mean, it's a different vibe. The use of brass, but
They
you know,
are not a completely new discovery to me, but in the last couple of years, they are. Oh my God! From having never heard them before to, so I just came to them after Dave died. But it was a sort of not quite life changing, but it's like, oh my God, this is incredible! I didn't know you could be allowed to do this with prog rock.
yeah, there are no rules, Jim.
Yeah, I know. But
There are no rules.
This is where I sort of have to sort of let go, because you're right, there are no rules.
Yeah. That's the beauty, actually, of prog, isn't it? Really, you know, you can go where you want with it. That's the point, really. You're not constrained to, you know, a 3.5 minute formulaic pop song. This is where you get to do what you want, you know.
Yeah.
And aren't we lucky there's an audience that are interested?
I think the audience give them more. You have to sort of. They are more accepting than perhaps we give them credit for different sounds. And I found that a lot on my channel that I've played something. I don't think people don't like this, and actually people say, "Oh, I haven't heard this for ages," or "Oh, this takes me back," or so, "Wow, this is different. I like this." It's really?
Yeah. No, you're right. And I mean, it's unnecessary, but I mean, I still do think, oh, I hope our regular audience are going to enjoy this, you know, because you do, obviously you do, you know, but you're right. It's a very broad-minded audience on the whole,
Yeah.
you know. I believe there are some that, you know, perhaps not so much, but 99% are, you know. And this I thought, this was the kind of the one I was probably most concerned about. But funnily enough, it's some people's favourite track. You know, that's the feedback I've had.
Yeah.
So, which is really exciting.
It's just so happy.
Yeah.
You know, life-affirmingly happy. Isn't that what I think someone has said that before? Joyous, life-affirmingly joyous. It's just wonderful.
Right.
Yeah.
It's good fun live.
Yeah.
And in fact, we're playing the stables later in the year, and I'm going to get the brass section.
Oh, I was going to say, have you
play.
played this with the brass?
Only in the studio, but we're going to get them along to play it at the stables
Right.
for sure.
That side is finished.
God, blimey, that was quick.
Whizzed through, didn't it?
Does sound good, mate.
Good.
It does sound good, doesn't it, on vinyl? I'm really pleased.
That's down to you.
Yeah. I think.
It's a nice record player as well.
Yeah. Of course
I've
it
got
is.
a little preamp, which is how I then USB it onto the computer, and that makes it sound good as well.
Yeah, nice, man.
So, what are we on to now?
Yeah, Fripper. This is.
Fripper.
Yeah, so this is this guitar riff. I just started playing it in. You know, I do a lot of guitar teaching, and occasionally a student doesn't turn up. Result, right? Because I'm
Happy days.
happy days. Because I'm obviously playing a lot and I'm warmed up. So if I get a 20-minute break, you know, I can just have a noodle, right?
Yeah.
And this riff came out of one of those noodles, and I just thought, I'm getting like a Robert Fripp vibe from this. You know?
Which is hence the name.
So, well, the thing is that, you know, so then I go home and I put it on the computer, you know, put it down, and obviously save it as something. First thing that comes into my head, Fripper.
Yeah.
And then the problem is that you end up discussing and recording and playing live, because that's the other thing with this album. We played the whole album live before we actually recorded it. The name just embeds itself, and then you try and find a different name for it.
Yeah,
You know, so that's why we got crazy names like Plunk and Fripper, because they're just file names.
Yeah.
You know, and no one could come up with a better idea. I remember Jess was like, "There's no way we're calling this Plunk," and
What was
I'm like,
that?
"Well,
Wongle number.
that's what Wongle number 9.
that's it, yeah.
That's exactly another example of the same thing." But Jess did like that one.
It's quite fun.
I remember we were flying to Italy, I think, to play over there, and we're like, we better sort out the names for this album because it was sort of ready to manufacture. And I remember us saying, oh yeah, we got to keep Wongle number 9. But she really didn't like Plunk. So I'm like, well, come on then, come up with something else.
Yeah.
And no, so nothing was forthcoming. But I like this track. It's got there's a lot of different little things going on it, different sections. So I mean, it's quite. I think this one is quite progressive, actually.
Yeah.
And these, I mean, this is in five time. Plunk was in 7, and
I know how to count to 7.
yeah. But I have to say, and this is the truth, I'm never conscious of that when I'm coming up with these ideas. Again, it's just playing something that I like, and then subsequently discovering when I'm programming some drum ideas or something that it isn't in 4, or that it's in whatever it's in. So I never kind of calculate those things or think, oh, this should be in a weird time signature. It's not. It's never about that, you know. I think because I saw Yes as a kid, everything just is in a weird time signature in my head forever.
And I think it may be. I think it also, as you say, it's just it's feel, it's how you play something and how it comes out.
Yeah, that's right. Just roll with it.
Roll with
See
it.
what happens. I love Jenny's fiddle playing.
And that's another really important part of the sound, isn't it?
It so is.
The fiddle.
It so is. But the fiddle on this album is lovely, and I think it has a bit more of a natural sound. So that's the other thing I was trying to do, was make things sound as natural as possible, not kind of over-process things, or because it does have a tendency to flatten things, I think. You know, it might sound from an audiophile perspective, you know, really nice, but actually we spend a lot of time putting distortion back into stuff, you know. I mean, virtually every plugin I have on Logic has a distortion or an analog filter, which is trying to get us back to what this vinyl's doing, you know, because it actually is analog, and it has that warmth to it, doesn't it, you know.
This is an argument, isn't it? Those who don't believe, and those who do. But I just think, if it's a well-pressed vinyl and it's played on decent stuff, it will sound good.
Yeah.
But so will flat file of this as well.
Yeah.
It will sound, but it's the whole. It's the whole physical thing. It's
of
just,
course, man. I mean, you know, I'm older than you, but we're essentially the same generation in terms of physical product, and I love it. You know, it's true. It's the whole ritual, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I talk to kids, because I teach them, talk to them a lot, and they don't know. Very often they don't know the name of the song that they want to learn. They don't know the artist, and they certainly don't know, you know, who produced it, who's playing on it, all that stuff. All that stuff you get from sitting there with your vinyl cover while you're listening to the music. It's a whole other dimension of experience, isn't it? Which we don't get, unfortunately.
So how do they communicate the song to you?
Yeah.
It's the one that goes digga 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 ba-doom ba-doom ba-da.
Yeah. Or they'll play me a little, because what it actually is a sound on TikTok or something like that.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Right. So one day I had a kid come in and he said, I want to learn this. And it was the opening couple of bars of Roundabout by Yes.
Right.
And I'm like, oh yeah, let's do it. You know, let's do it. So I'm going to show you, you know, this section, and I'm going to show you the next riff. Oh, no. He says, no, I don't want any of that. I just want the opening harmonics, the first thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I said, mate, you either learn the whole thing or nothing. You know, it's like, it's bizarre. I said, have you any idea who this is? I said, like, no. Do you know what it's called? No. You know, and that.
So you have no idea why it's important, or.
Well, the thing is, there's so much more music to discover by these artists, and what they're getting is just this tiny little snapshot without knowing anything about where it's come from.
Oh my goodness.
Which is a shame. However, I've just done these series of roadshows in schools, so I've been asking the question to the kids, where do you get your music from? And actually, it was a very small percentage that said they get it from TikTok. Most of them get it from Dad's Spotify premium account, right?
Yeah.
YouTube, some from, you know, the radio, but mostly, Amazon, Alexa.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But at least with Alexa, you've got to know what to ask for.
Yes.
Right. So actually, I think I do them a disservice by suggesting that most kids don't know what they're listening to. I mean, my kids certainly do, you know. Anyway, this song is taking me into a different place right now. That's nothing to do with any of that. Yeah. This is I mean, even talking to you and hearing this is making me respond emotionally, because it was such an emotional experience recording this with Jess in the studio. And it's such a beautiful vocal, you know. It literally is making me well up now listening to it. I mean, it's because it was such a profound experience, and I mean, I haven't. It was hard. It was hard to work on it, actually, mixing it, right?
Yeah.
199 tracks of audio, but what was hard was, you know, even hearing it hundreds of times, it would make me feel like this every time, and so it was hard to focus on, you know, what that guitar reverb is doing at that particular point or whatever. She, Jesse's approach to coming in and working on a new song is to come in essentially not knowing it at all. And when she arrives, you know, she'll go, okay, let me see the lyrics, you know, let's have a listen through to it. And I'll just leave her to kind of listen, you know, for a bit, and then she'll start recording it. So her vocal is always, like the guitar solos, it's a very immediate response to whatever the music is.
Yes.
You know, like a fresh interpretation of what it is. It's not really been premeditated at all. And I think that's a dangerous way to work, but I think it really pays dividends in so many ways.
It's yes.
And she is an accomplished, I can't say the word, a good enough musician to be able to do that, to be able to just come in and absorb something straight away and then perform it. I mean, who does that? You know, it's extraordinary. Anyway, she came in and saw all the lyrics, and I gave the lyrics, and I explained what the lyrics meant to me, which I don't do publicly because I like the idea that people can make up their own mind, right? But I explained what they meant to me, and it was a massive connection with her, and you know, something that she feels incredibly strongly about. So when she opened her mouth and sung it, it was just so emotional. It just made me weep, you know. And here it is on a record. So yeah, this is something else's track for me. It's something else altogether, you know. Yeah.
I think music is the closest thing we have to magic, because like it's happening to you in this moment. It doesn't matter where you are or when you are. You hear something, it takes you somewhere.
That's right. It's such a powerful connection.
And nothing else can do that.
No.
At all.
Right. I know, right? So true.
Yeah. Time travel, you can sort of travel anywhere in the world. It's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have trouble speaking while this track's playing.
Collect yourself, Andy.
I'm going to try. So this is another file name. So the song, I think it's the end of my birthday is New Year's Eve. End of 2023, Jenny buys me this present, brings me this big box in. That vocal, man. I mean, that vocal is just astonishing. Oh my lord. That moment there, just... anyway, I think my...
Oh, sorry to put you through the ringer like this.
Why, why have you bought me a flat TV? We've got one of those. Anyway, I opened up the box and it was a flight case, and within the flight case was this beautiful twin neck guitar. I mean, what a woman.
Oh my God.
I know, I was just floored. I just thought, oh Christ. Actually, my first thought was, it's beautiful. God, I hope it plays all right and sounds all right, Because buying a guitar for someone is like buying a suit for them that they haven't tried on, right? Stunning. Yeah. So I'm okay now. I can cope with this bit. I just felt like I wanted to hear vocals coming from different places expressing what the kind of protagonist in the song is going through. And this is what Jess did, And actually Nick Burns is also singing with her on this. Nick Burns as in Ebony Buckles' husband and partner in music. I mean, man, it's gorgeous. I will get back to the story in a moment. Just draw my attention back to this. That's Nick and Jess singing together. It's magic.
It's goosebump moment, isn't it?
It's magical singing.
He's got a beautiful voice. That tenor.
Nick has a beautiful voice.
But it's not buried, but it's quite a long way back.
Yeah, I wanted it all to be. So when you listen to it on cans, the voices are kind of coming from different places, saying things to you. So when Nick and Ebony sing live together, have you seen them live?
No, I've not.
Oh, holy moly, man, you've got to see them live. So their voices blend like no other two voices, male, female voices.
As if they were siblings almost.
I mean, they both have stunning voices. And obviously, they're married, so they have this incredible bond anyway. And when they sing together, it's just extraordinary, And he is a phenomenal musician, great guitar player, great producer. So, and she is the same, and also a great writer. So they're quite a partnership, I can tell you. You need to see them live. Come to the Stables, man.
Oh, that's August.
August the 30th. 30th of August. Yeah. Anyway, back to the song.
Shameless plug.
Yeah. So this twin neck guitar.
Oh yes, back to that.
Yeah. And it was, thankfully, it was beautiful and lovely to play. And the first thing I played on it were the chords that you're hearing in this track. I thought they're nice chords. They sound lovely on this guitar. Because it'll often happen, a new instrument will inspire you to play something that you wouldn't normally play. And sometimes you love it, And I did love those chords, and those chords are essentially what you hear through the whole piece. So I saved that idea as Twin Peaks because I'm a big fan of the David Lynch series, Twin Peaks, back in the day, which I revisited recently and just thought, God, this is so dated now. I don't think I can cope with it. But at the time, Absolutely loved it. So that was a file name because it's a twin neck guitar, right?
Oh,
Twin neck guitar, Twin Peaks, boom, save it as that.
Yes.
And then bizarrely, it's ended up by accident as this piece of music which has Twin Peaks in it. It has two peaks, right?
Yes.
Musical peaks.
Big dip in the middle.
Big dip in the middle. So it's kind of just worked its way into being an appropriate title anyway.
Fantastic.
This vocal as well. So we've tried to play this live subsequently. We can't, doing the middle section is not possible without having, loads of people and tracks and all the rest of it. And I'm really not into using tracks live. I mean, it goes back to when Jess first joined the band and started putting all these beautiful harmonies on everything. And we were like, how do we do this live? So it's either we use tracks or we use humans. And I'm like, we're definitely using humans. Whatever the expense and logistical problems, not gonna have, and actually, story, my fear of tracks is actually started when I was front of house engineer for Jethro Tull in the 90s, and they would do Songs from the Wood every night, which is a track that I absolutely adore. And the opening a cappella vocal was triggered by the keyboard player as samples. Back then even, probably sample memory was quite small, so it had to be one line at a time.
Yeah.
Let me bring you songs from the wood, that's the first sample. It makes you feel much better, it's the second sample, and so on. So you would have to hit them in the right order, which he did every night except one night when he got them. And of course the band were all there with their microphones going, and they're not explicitly saying we are actually singing this or not, right? But most of the audience would have thought they were.
Yes.
So when it came out in the wrong order, I was just so embarrassed. I literally hid under the desk.
Oh, no.
I just found it so embarrassing and kind of humiliating. And I think Ian, I can't remember how he handled it. He probably made a bit of a joke of it. But anyway, I just thought there and then I'm never going to do that. So we, yeah, it was nice. Yeah, so we can't do that middle section. Without huge personnel and running a track really. So we did. So the first section is plausible live, and we have tried it a few times live, but I think it's just so hard to do justice to it because that recording, it's just so, I just love it so much.
Well, it's a moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can't repeat moments.
It's just like, I mean, I'd love to play it live, but it has to make me feel like it does, and actually with the other tracks, it's fine. They feel vibey. I think they're better live.
Yeah.
But I'm just not sure we can make that better live.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of scared. We tried, but I don't know. We'll see.
Well, that is it. We have heard the album. And that's actually the first time I've listened to this all the way through. I've heard everything on it.
Not that I let you listen to it, really.
Well, no, I was listening to a lot of it.
Were you really?
Yeah, I really was. I got my headphones on properly. Look.
Yeah. I got to say, it sounds very nice.
If you don't have this, and you have a record player, and you want to have it, buy the record because it's absolutely brilliant. How's the reception been? Has it been doing well? As you'd hoped, or better?
Really, really blown away with the reaction to it.
Good.
Absolutely thrilled. We are just scratching the surface of the progressive audience, the potential progressive audience that that Marillion or Steve Wilson enjoys. or has built up, should I say,
Yeah.
you know, through their hard work, continual hard work over 20
Yeah.
or 40 years,
Yes.
whatever it is. And I have huge respect for them for that. And I've never had that drive until Jess joined the band, and we were locked down, you know, for months, and the opportunity was there, and my kids were old enough for them not to really need me. And so, you know, all those things came together, and now I have that drive, and I want to reach that
Yes.
audience.
Yeah.
But that is not going to happen overnight. Obviously, it takes time, and I can see every day, because I have messages and I see comments, that people are discovering us for the first time. It's a very slow process. So despite, you know, we've been very fortunate with the support from Prog Magazine and from our audience and the Prog results and all that stuff. So you might think from that, you know, that we're selling shitloads of records. Believe me, we're not.
I know the reality. I know
Yes,
the reality. Of course,
we're not.
No.
But and that's fine. You know, these things take time, and it can never be about the money, because, you know, it's just because that would be pointless. And but the response from people that have been listening to it and that have been coming to the shows has just been so kind of life affirming, really, and validating, and motivating and inspiring, and, you know, I couldn't be happier.
Excellent.
It's great.
And the future is looking bright as well.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, we've just done the tour, and you know, just kind of winding things up from that, and then, you know, in the next couple of weeks, I'll start on the next album.
Wow.
You know, start writing
Yes.
it. I mean,
Yeah.
not a note is written, Jim. So, you know, in the next
Oh,
couple
I've
of
got
weeks,
some ideas. I could.
we'll see what comes. It's
Yeah.
you never know. I mean, the last two albums have taken a couple of years to write and record, and I suspect this will be the same. So I'm hoping, you know, 2027, you know, we'll pop the next one out.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
So, but yeah, I'm on a roll, and the
Yeah.
band's on a roll, and I can see, you know, the band's enthusiasm has been building, which is, you know, why we've been out and done a tour. You know, we're trying new things, or new for this lineup, and seeing where it goes. And we're off to Maastricht to play Midsummer Prog.
Yeah, that's
later
a
this
lovely little
month.
festival. I've never been, but I know people who have.
Yeah, so excited about that. Jess is away for the summer. She's going to the Philippines, which is where, you know, where she's from originally, and so she's going to explore her homeland while I write some songs.
How did you meet her? Is she local or?
No, so Jenny has done these things called folk camps for years, and when I met her or we got together rather, in 1999, she said, "Oh, I'm going to this folk camp, which I do every year," and she's a musician at it. So these are like 120 people in some beautiful place in a field, a marquee, lots of dancing every night, lots of music, workshops, and staff, of which Jenny's always been, leading music workshops. So she said, "Look, come in your own car, you might hate it, you know, and then you can leave."
Just go.
But I loved it.
Yeah.
And so ever since, every year we do these folk camps, and me and Jenny run the workshops, and the kids have grown up in that environment, and now the kids are starting to do the workshops.
Oh,
you know?
cool.
So, and it's a fantastic place socially, and people build relationships. Anyway, Jess was a very young musician coming with her family to folk camps, and, you know, she'd get up and sing one of her songs, and I thought, wow, you know, she absolutely has it, you know. So, and then Jenny started a thing called the Folk Camps Party Band, and we play, it's like a big spectacular festival thing. We do the folk festivals and all the rest of it. And that was in, I don't know, 2018 or 17. And Jess, and it features musicians, young musicians from the folk camps, and Jess was a bass player.
Okay.
So we'd been working with Jess, and she started doing a bit of singing. And then in 2019, when it kind of, things came to a head with the band, and we were like, we need to start working with a new singer. Jenny said, "Why don't you ask Jess?" Which I admit hadn't occurred to me, you know, because I knew she was a great singer, songwriter, musician, but she's like a couple of generations younger, and has absolutely no interest in Solstice or progressive music that I'm aware of. But anyway, yeah. So I said I did ask her on Jenny's suggestion, and she came up, and I got her to sing Cheyenne, which is a song that I've always wanted to revisit, and that was it. I just thought, oh my lord, and
She was sold as
amazingly,
well.
she was really into it.
Wow.
And when she started hearing the music, she really connected with it, which was thrilling. And then we started producing new music, which she's just brought so much to. So there we are.
So I'm just making sure I can't see what time's left on that. Still going.
Yeah.
But yes, so wow.
Yeah.
Excellent. And the rest of the band is there anybody left? There's nobody left, is there, from the first incarnation?
No, I'm the sole survivor, mate. Yeah, sole survivor. But Jenny, Rob, Steve have all been in the band since kind of 96, 97, which is Clive Bunker was the drummer in the band at that point. And that was a kind of second or third coming, if you like.
Right.
And that lot. But, my life was a wreck at the time, and I couldn't sustain it, so we did sort of 97 to 96 to 98 probably. Played at Cropredy that year, and then it kind of fell apart again after that. So and then me and Jenny had known each other for a long time. It was a 9-year sort of courtship. And when we
won't they sort of, if that had been a TV program, it'd be like sort of was it Ross and Rachel from Friends? Will they, won't they?
Yeah. So we did,
yeah.
And that was completely life changing for me. It was not a good time prior to that, and then when we got together, that's when everything changed for
Perfect.
me, and it's been a kind of upward trajectory ever since, and now the band is growing and blossoming, and and of course, because I'm like in my 60s, I appreciate it so much more than I did as a 24-year-old or 22-year-old or whatever.
Yeah.
And I want to make the most of every moment, Jim.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sound cliched, the wrong word, but something that it's not. But I find specifically you, Andy, your approach to this quite inspirational, because no, really, because you've always held the dream and kept going against all the odds and against it not working, and still wanting to do it, and still this is my life, is what I want to do. And it goes to show that actually, if you still want to do it, and you still want to make music and want to, no matter what the audience is, you should still do it.
Absolutely. And I say this to everyone, that never give up on what you love doing, because you just never know. And as long as you're enjoying it, that's the point anyway.
Yeah.
So just keep doing it and keep enjoying whatever it is you do in life.
Yeah. I just turn my keyboard back on again.
Get it fired up, mate.
Yeah. Well, so thank you so much for coming in today. It's been an absolute pleasure. And it's kind of proved that with a bit of juggling, this does work. I can do it. So the inaugural one-to-one, whatever this is, interview, chat.
It's like a podcast.
It is like a podcast, isn't it?
This is pro now, mate.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think the viewers can see this. Look at that. This is a pro setup, guys. This is the future.
It is.
Jim Newstead's podcast.
Wow. Watch this space.
Yeah.
Watch this space.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you so much.
Bless you,
and good luck with the album. Good luck with the band. Good luck with everything.
Amazing.
And we'll see you. I'll hopefully see you in August at the stables.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
It's been a real pleasure, mate.
Cool.
Thank you.
Good. Bye for now.